Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Experience Podcast. It looked like I was just chopping some spider webs out my face, but where on each and every one of these episodes, I provide experience shares as an entrepreneur, investor in the industry, and also bring on other high-achieving investors and entrepreneurs in the industry as well. Almost forgot my train of thought, but we'll go ahead and just keep on rolling. Those of you who are on the YouTube, you know the next steps. Hit that subscribe button and also notification bell. And everyone else on other platforms, whether that's iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, WorldStar Hip Hop, not on WorldStar Hip Hop, may consider it. Actually, will not. That's a whole different platform in itself. But it would really mean the world to me for you to leave those ratings. 5 stars if you believe I am doing a phenomenal job. So let's jump right into things where I want to allude to one key concept that really helped me propel my business, especially as I was getting started in the industry as an investor. So that key concept is understanding my strengths in addition to my weaknesses and some blind spots, but we'll get to the blind spots at a later point. So understanding this is it can be things that you are naturally good at, and then also able to, people who are close to you, able to get that feedback from them additionally. So a couple of the strengths that I have is, or let's say when I was first starting out, and then I'll shift to when I went from my first original partnership to my one that was later after that. So had a partnership with my mentor, and then later shift to that where I was able to get into single family, scaled up to 150, and then in 2017 started in the multifamily space. But with my original partnership with my mentor, was the strengths and weaknesses that he had was, one, he had about 20 years experience, just under 20 years, 2 decades, you guys. And that was the amount of time he was in the industry I was about 2 to 3 years old when he actually got into it. So that's, but that's how much older he was than me. And then, so he had the experience, he had the cash and the net worth, as well as the credit score, which the credit score is not too, in terms of significant when you're buying deals, but it does come into play. But his weaknesses were, the technology side was one thing. He was more of an old school operator. And then the other weakness was he didn't have the time to be able to find the deals, because he was looking to diversify from multifamily to single family. I know normally it's actually the other way, but that was in essence the strengths and weaknesses among others, but those are just the main ones I want to really shine some light for you guys. And then for me, strengths that I had was, one, I was willing to do whatever it takes in terms of really getting into the industry, because I was shifting from construction to being more of the investing side, a investor. And of course, whatever it takes, meaning in an ethical way, you guys. That's one thing I want to mention. Do not do anything unethical when it comes to the whatever it takes. And I had the time to be able to find the deals. However, my weaknesses were I didn't have that much experience. My credit score was shot. When you actually pull my credit score, it wouldn't even come up. And I remember there was a couple times I went to, I believe, lease a vehicle, or it was to purchase, to move forward with the contract cell phone. They would pull my credit and they say there's nothing there. I was like, there's got to be something. They're like, no, you have no track record or anything. Nothing's coming up. So those of you who are familiar with the whole credit thing, I don't know if that's better or bad or worse than actually having bad credit. And then the other weakness was I didn't have cash, the money. But at the end of the day, we complemented each other's weaknesses. So that's how it was, complemented each other's strengths and weaknesses, and there was the overlap. So that's what I want to jump into, because that's how things first started, identifying that. Because there's this quote by Jim Rohn that says, and I've mentioned this on several occasions in terms of this quote, is when you are committed enough, you will find a way or you'll find a excuse. I knew I wanted to get into single family home investing and not so much be on the construction side, and I knew what my weaknesses were, but at the end of the day, I knew that, hey, I'm at A, no deal. Z is a deal. Now I've got to reverse engineer. I got that from Gary Vaynerchuk in terms of that. The reverse engineering is I've got to reverse engineer from Z to work backwards to A and bridge the gap and find a way. And that's exactly what I did. Was I used all the resources that I had and found the right people and put the deal together, and then bought the deal across the street from that. But that's what I mean is really just when you're committed enough, you will find a way, and understanding your strengths. And then from there is also getting some insights on what your weaknesses are, and then putting people in place to complement those. So other strengths that I have is, one, I'm a deal junkie. I enjoy going direct to owner to buy deals, the acquisition side. Also marketing, the branding, putting myself out there, shooting content like this is a way to bring on investors. So that those are other strengths, but weaknesses are underwriting. And also the organizations organizing is I tend to get messy because I'm the one just pushing out, and then also when it comes to property management as well, because there's so many different moving parts that's associated with that and the minutia. And so I knew what those weaknesses were, and I found a partner that enjoyed the whole spreadsheets, the underwriting, building out performas on our specific investment opportunities that we have, because it's an art in itself when you're building out these models with stress testing. Okay, what is the exit cap rate going to be in 5 to 6 years? Because who knows exactly how it's going to be. So you've got to build all these things out, which I don't enjoy that so much. So found someone to complement that. And then even in the property management company is found someone, well, formerly this was one that I actually built and I've since exited out of it, but at that time ended up bringing a chief operating officer that had extensive experience in terms of managing just well over 3,000 units as a regional manager, and ended up bringing that individual in play so I could further be pushed up in the company. Instead of working on the property management company and dealing with a lot of that day-to-day, I could focus on the more higher value activities. Because just the other day I had someone that reached out to me, and I've got some notes over here that said, what do you do on, it was something about a bathroom surround. And I said, I have no clue. I'm not in the trenches on replacing or either reglazing bathroom surrounds, because I push myself up so much more. And that's what really helps with understanding your strengths and weaknesses, because when you delegate your weaknesses, because there's so many different moving parts associated with this industry. Meaning you've got to get contractors, you've got your attorneys that could help you in terms of putting deals together, you've got your property management companies, you've got your brokers and agents that can help you find deals. Because if you try and do it all on your own, this is one of those things that you can essentially run into burnout, and then that you could miss items because you're trying to do it all on your own. That's why it's crucial, which we'll get into that on a whole nother episode about building a team, because I'm a firm believer, and I've even heard this from high achieving investors that are further along than me talk about it's all about the team and putting the right people on the bus. Because if you're the only one on the bus, you've got all these different things that are involved with your business that you have to try and plug those holes yourself, when you may not have the skill set, such as running the numbers or doing the bookkeeping, or you may not be a people person to be able to bring on the investors. And so one book that talks about all this is E-Myth by Michael Gerber. He talks about the multiple positions. There's like a visionary, there is a implementer, the one that implements what the visionary has, and there's like the technician. So all these different roles that you would need to have within your business in order to have a higher probability in actually succeeding. So that's what I just want to share with you all in terms of understanding your strengths and weaknesses. And this may be something you may have to get some help from people that are closer to you. I remember there was a situation in which one of my business partners that I always wanted to be a manager. So well, now I believe there's a difference between a manager and actually a leader. But for the longest time, I wanted to manage people, which it's more of actually you want to lead people. But in the property management company, it's quite a bit of actually managing people. But from that case is I got perspective and insights from my business partner that, hey, Sterling, this management thing in terms of you managing people is just not a good fit, because with my skill set, I'm more of a go individual, and if someone doesn't do something, I tend to run them over, which isn't good in terms of culture wise, and I've since grown and learned from that. It's more about trusting and verifying, and if someone is just not getting it done, it could be I did not provide the necessary context, I did not communicate it well. So all these things that I've just ever been learning as I constantly evolve as a entrepreneur, investor, but that helped getting that perspective from someone from the outside, because this was a blind spot for me, and I want to do the blind spot like that because I am always looking to understand my blind spots, because one, I know what strengths are, and some of those strengths even to this day may not actually be strengths. Majority of them are, and then my weaknesses, but also want to focus in on those blind spots that I don't even know are there. That's what I really want to know, and that's why it's good to have people who are close to you that will be brutally honest to you that way. And when I first heard that, I took it personally. And in the sense that it did not feel good to hear that transparent in terms of that feedback, but it was one of those things that just shortly after that I said, thanks so much for that. It's greatly appreciated that you feel comfortable enough telling me that. And then I grow from there, and then we actually ended up hiring someone to assist with running the property management company, because I was not a manager. But that's what I mean, you guys, is really understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and it's about a team because there's so many moving parts that are within this business, and if you're trying to do it all on your own, you can drop quite a bit of balls that are going around and miss some things, and if you miss one detail, or let's say it's a minor detail, but it's actually major, is that could cost you the deal and you could actually go under. Prime example is there was these operators that did not take into consideration, one, what the property was being current, and this was during their due diligence, because all these different items that you have to check the box on, was they ran their numbers on the total assessed value and did not take into consideration. Prime example is, let's say the property's valued at $10 million, they're buying it for $15 million. That's going to get reassessed at the $15 million. May not get completely assessed all the way up there in terms of the taxes going up, but they just didn't take in consideration that at all in their underwriting. And after they bought it, taxes went up, and that ate into their cash flow significantly. So that's what I mean, is all these different moving parts. Let's say you're doing an inspection on the property, best to get an inspector that's involved. So it's all about setting up the team and putting them in areas that you're weak in, or even outsourcing. There's tools such as Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com, where you can outsource at very affordable prices. There is Upwork.com that you can use, super affordable. But if you're just getting started, you may not have the cash to be able to do that. So in that case, you may have to give up equity in your company or equity in your deals. You just got to figure it out, or you find an excuse, or you say that I don't want to give up any equity, but I still, that's a big hole in my business that I'm not just going to figure it out, and I'm just going to say I don't want to give up equity, I don't have any cash, and just excuse. But don't want to go too much in that. Let's go ahead and go into the book review. It's actually not a book review. It is a book recommendation, and it's by, where is it? Oh man, I forgot his name. But Bill Tillman, I believe is his name. But the name of the book is Shut Up and Listen. This was the individual that is just net worth is under $5 billion. That's the last time that it was recorded on that. He owns restaurants. He owns a sports team as well, the Houston Rockets. There we go. Restaurants, hotels. And the biggest takeaway is I truly do enjoy reading books that are actually written by the individual, because one, you get to see their tonality and actually get insights into their frame of thinking from their perspective and how they wrote it and their language and how they communicate too. Shoe Dog is another book that's highly recommended. That is by Phil Knight. But the biggest takeaways from this book is, first one is know your numbers, you guys. That is vitally important within your business. Prime example is I had this was a local investor that they were flipping a property. The market the neighborhood didn't turn around as they expected, and from that is that they were looking to shift it to a buy and hold. And I asked them, what are your numbers? And in essence is they said, what do you mean by numbers? And I said, what is your cash on cash? What is your return on investment? He's like, oh, those numbers. I said, yes, those are the numbers that you need to know. Very key. So there's that. Second is live your leadership, but a good leader always being a leader at the end of the day. And that's actually what I mentioned towards the beginning is be a leader during the bad time. Well, be a leader during the good times and also during the bad times as well. And the last but not least that he talks about is hospitality. And he's huge in the restaurant business, and he talks about how important it is for the customer service and to center a lot of your business around the actual customer in itself and really make that to where they keep coming back, because if you have them have a bad experience, then they'll just move on to another restaurant, and it's not very likely that they will come back to yours. So he really talks about hospitality from the restaurant business as well as the hotel industry. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Definitely go check out that book, Not Affiliated. I don't get paid by you going to go purchase it, or you can go to the library and be able to get it for free as well. So, all right, those of you on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. It would mean the world to me. And also that in the event you want the free guide to getting started in multifamily, which you'll definitely want to get that. It's free, and it's definitely ways really I give you insights on how to get started. Also, I give you some case studies of deals that I've done and just really help shortcut your way to be able to get started and get you that first deal or even your next deal that you're working towards. So visit sterlingwhiteofficial.com. That is sterlingwhiteofficial.com. So you all keep being awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Experience. If this has brought you any value, please subscribe and leave a 5-star rating. It would mean the world to me. Now go out there and crush it.